What's going on, guys? Charles Weinraub, AKA the Handsome Homebuyer, and on today's educational vlog episode, we're gonna be talking about, you got a house, do you flip it, or do you rent it? All right, so today we're gonna be talking about, you get a house, boom, you got it under contract, do you flip it or do you rent it? People reach out to me all the time on this topic, and they're like,
Charles, how do you know if you're gonna flip it or if you're gonna rent it?
and really, they're two completely separate things. When you're looking at a deal and you're underwriting a deal, you should know from the jump, not when you buy it, not when it's under contract, you should know if it's gonna be a rental or if it's gonna be a flip, okay? And we're gonna go through a couple of points here to go over that and explain exactly how you know. But basically, it has to meet your investment criteria. You know before you buy, all right? So let's talk about types of rentals for a second. Let's say we're just talking about basic single family rentals here, right? You have a single family 3-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, whatever it is. You're either gonna be in a higher end market or you're gonna be in a lower end market. Obviously in a higher end market, you're gonna get more rent. A lot of times it's not significantly more rent, but you're gonna pay a lot more and typically you're gonna have a lot higher taxes. So you have to know, first of all, if you're gonna do rentals, what kind of rentals you wanna do. Do you wanna do lower market? You wanna do middle market? You wanna do higher end market? What do you wanna do? And there's pros and cons to all of them, okay? The big thing comes down to your ROI, your return on investment. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna calculate based on other investments that are available to you and your personal tolerance for risk and reward. And remember, everyone's idea of a good investment is different. You're gonna figure out what you want your return on investment to be for a rental. So let's just kick some stuff around for a second here. Let's say you can lend money. If you can lend money, let's say you can lend money at 10, 12, 15%, and you literally do nothing other than get a check in the mail every week. Now, if you're gonna do a rental property, regardless if that's high end, middle, or low, and you're gonna have to deal with the risks associated with buying, renovating, dealing with tenants, property management companies, managing it, your own personal time being involved, etc. You're gonna need a better return, plus you're gonna need the tax benefits that come with owning residential real estate. So you have to come up with a number. And let's say that's 10% or 12% or 15% return cash on cash and a certain amount of equity. Let's say that's 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever that is once you do the refinance and you reposition the property or write off the initial purchase. So you're gonna want an equity cushion that you create from being an investor and being educated and getting a good deal, and you're gonna want positive cash flow, all right? So once you have that laid out, you then use that criteria to screen all your different rental possibilities. So if you have a house coming in for $400,000 or $200,000 or $50,000 or $500,000, whatever it is, you look at the rents, you look at the renovation, you look at the taxes, you look at all the costs associated with buying, renovating, refinancing, and holding and then operating that rental and see if it hits or meets or exceeds your criteria. That's how you know if it's gonna be a good rental for you or a good flip. All right, so, and then you put together the strategy exactly how to do that, which is what we just went over, okay? Now, there's benefits, there's pros and cons with the high end and the low end, all right? So just to paint a picture for you guys about what to expect on both extremes, and then I'm gonna tell you what I do and what my ultimate opinion is as far as how do I know which to flip and which to rent. And the market will also tell you, there's areas that are great for rentals, but as the market increases, which we'll go over in a minute, sometimes the prices go up to the point where those things don't really make sense. So the high end versus the low end. The high end markets, in my opinion, usually don't make the same money as the lower end markets do because they're really expensive to buy in and the taxes are really expensive. Another big issue or bigger issue that I see more so than that is people that rent in higher end markets as a whole don't usually stay as long in the same place. They'll rent for a year, maybe 2 years. So the average cash tenant, they might be saving to buy a house. They might be transitioning. They might be working on the house, whatever it is, and they're in a higher end rental. They're gonna stay for a year or 2 years, maybe 3 years, but then they're gonna leave. And when they leave, you have to fix up the apartment a little bit, even if they were great tenants. You have to paint. You're gonna have a few months of vacancy until you find the right people. Inevitably, that downtime is gonna cost you a lot of money, right? And this segues into what I prefer. I don't really prefer the higher end tenants. Also, typically in a rental area, the delta between what you get on a lower end rental and what you get on a middle or higher end rental isn't enough to offset the increase in what it costs you to buy it and what it costs you to maintain it with the taxes, insurance, and everything else, okay? On the lower end, which is what I prefer, a Section 8, a CDC, even a cash tenant on a lower end rental, the benefits are there for a bunch of different reasons. Program tenants stay on average 11 years. So that's a big deal. When you don't have turnover, you don't have people leaving, you're not painting, you don't have vacancies, you're making money, it's flowing in every single month. So that's a huge, huge, huge bonus. Also, again, the rentals, even the rental income, even if it's 50% less, 25% less than something on a middle or higher end market, you're buying these properties at such a huge, huge, huge discount compared to these. I'll give you an example. I'll go into town like Mastic, Shirley, Bellport, Mastic Beach, East Patchogue, etc. And I have bought houses in these areas for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, under $100,000. They also have lower taxes. They have taxes in some places as low as $3,000 in some of these areas, and the insurance is only $900. And then I'm charging $2,300, $2,500, $2,600, $2,800 depending on the bedroom count. You can't compare that to a middle market or higher end market when you're paying $400,000, $500,000 for a house. The taxes are $12,000, $15,000, $18,000 a year, and maybe you're getting $1,000 more. Maybe you're getting 35% more. Maybe you're getting $3,500 or $4,000. Still, the cash on cash return and the equity that you create in the lower end market compared to the higher end market is a big delta. So typically, in my opinion, you make more money and you do better with less aggravation in a lower end market getting the right price than you do at a middle or a higher end market. But to answer the overwhelming question, which is how do you know the difference? You're gonna get the education, you're gonna develop your investment criteria for what you require as far as equity creation and your cash on cash return for rental property, and you're gonna apply that to every deal that comes in, and you'll start to notice a pattern. Now, out in Mastic Beach, Shirley, etc., now with the market as crazy as it is in the suburbs, I actually haven't been keeping those as rentals. And the reason why I haven't been keeping them as rentals is I'm forced to pay up so that it doesn't make sense. My investment criteria isn't being met. I'm not hitting that cash on cash return that I'm looking for. I'm not hitting that equity creation that I'm looking for. So now in areas like this, at this part of the market or this stage in the market, I'm flipping in those areas. But there'll be a time when the market changes and I could stock up on rentals. The point is to be educated and understand in this way as the market changes, because ultimately it's always going to, you know what the best play is, and you're constantly buying to either fix, flip, renovate, hold, build, etc. All right? I appreciate you. Obviously, if you made it this far, click the subscribe, like, ring the bell, do all that good stuff. We'll see you next week's educational vlog.